Sorry, it scares me every time. Every time. Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know what to do.
Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Monday Night Magic here on the MTG Cast Network. He's your host, Chewie.
Hi. I'm Chewie. I'm scared now. The person who took over for my intro while I was terrified beyond all reason was Squee.
Woo, I'm here to give you a familiar environment because it's going to get weird.
It is already weird. Also, the one who scared me, Cluze.
I'm also frightened.
And the one who laughed at all of our fear, Chris Lansdell.
It's Tuesday.
It is. I had to work.
Did you tell Blizzard?
I'm very afraid.
I did not tell Blizzard.
You're messing.
No,
with
I mean that it was Tuesday.
Oh,
You're messing with the time-space continuum. I don't know how to deal
it'll
with
be
this.
fine.
Widdly wobbly timey-wimey stuff.
So yes, we are recording this on Tuesday because turns out it was a 9.5 hour drive that I got a call for at 1 p.m.
Good God.
Yeah. Called me at 1 and said, can you go here? And I said, sure. And then it took 9.5 hours before I got home. And then I played Overwatch, but that is unimportant. So yes, we are here recording episode 558 of Monday Night Magic here on the MTG Cast Network. And we've got really just one bit of news, really, that sort of
matters,
permeates throughout the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it'll be a running theme.
Yeah, sort of like the Running Man, except without the guy with all the lights on his suit.
Except less real.
I can't remember his name, though, or that'd have been a lot. Was it Dynamo?
Might have been Dynamo. Was he the one who sang opera?
I don't know. I haven't seen Running Man in years.
Because one of them sang opera.
Dance.
Ask your uncle.
Ask your uncle. Not the one who works at Nintendo, the other one.
The one who exists.
Yeah. So, as you guys all know, last week we talked about the banned and restricted announcement where the top was banned in Legacy finally, and something else. Some stuff was banned in Vintage that only Vintage people care about. Was it Gush? Gush and Probe?
Yeah, they were both restricted.
Yeah. And nothing was banned in Standard, and half of the internet said, yeah, right. And the other half said, what? And so
they've gotten accustomed to this whole thing of cards in Standard getting banned. Well,
yeah. But not this time.
I actually wondered if banning cards in Standard is going to be the new norm to combat the rapid evolution of the metagame, but perhaps not after Monday. I mean, clearly they weren't going to do anything ever.
Needs more data.
You know what should be enough data? Like 2 days, I figure.
Probably, yeah.
And 2 days and a pizza, yeah.
So when was this? It says the 27th, which means it appeared in the middle of the night on the 26th, because I was streaming, and it popped up in my chat, oh my god, look at this, and there was a link. And so I clicked on it, because I'm dumb, and I click on things in Twitch chat, but it's my Twitch chat, so it's fine.
Chewie.
There's only a few of us
His chat's okay.
Yeah. And lo and behold, it was an addendum to the banned and restricted announcement, announcing that Felidar Guardian was banned in Standard.
I would like to correct you.
Correct me what?
It was not an addendum. It was an emergency ban. Let's call it what it really was.
Let's call it what they called it.
Yeah, they called it an addendum. Now, mind you, this is Wednesday night. The first Standard events were in 2 days.
That is not a lot of time.
Yeah, it's Thursday and Friday, and then it starts on Saturday, yeah. Unless F&M, in which case it was, 2 nights away.
Well,
and
sure,
we all
plenty of
said,
time.
huh, okay, that's weird. Wizards must be high, because, here lately Wizards has done some weird things, but, huh.
I'm sorry, that wasn't my original first thought, but now it's gonna be. Thanks.
When the Wizards must be high?
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Which I'm singing in my head to the tune of The Statue Got Me High by They Might Be Giants.
Ah. I don't know that one, but okay.
Well, that's off of Apollo 18.
If you say so. But anyway, back to this. So yeah, they decided to ban the cat. And everyone said, what? And they said, why? Let me just read this paragraph. Why are we making this call now? And why didn't we make it in our regular B&R announcement on Monday? The answer is data.
Yeah.
We knew going into Monday that the Saheeli-Felidar combo was a significant issue for Standard, and we're watching it closely. Our rationale for waiting was to make sure we only needed to take one and only one action, that was in italics, to correct the Standard environment. Our plan was to monitor early play behavior and pro competition and make a call following Pro Tour Amonkhet, which is they said.
Yeah, don't they get a free action every turn as well?
No, wrong game. This is Magic.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, that was what they said in the B&R update from the previous week was, well, we're just gonna wait because there are cards in Amonkhet that, will matter. Or should matter. Or something. And, but something different happened this time that Bill told us about last week, and that's that Magic Online got Amonkhet before paper, people did.
Which was awesome.
Sure. And then happened...
The set hit Magic Online last week, Monday.
Yeah.
So, essentially the soonest point it could after the paper pre-releases were over.
Yeah. And this is the first time this has ever happened. So, they looked at in those 2 days, as Chris hinted at earlier, they looked at the, standard meta on Magic Online and saw that the, Crazy Cat Lady combo was ruling everything. And so they decided to ban it. It says, what we expected to take a few weeks to understand has ended up taking 2 days to form a clear picture of a metagame unbalanced by the copycat combo, as even its natural predator Mardu vehicles fell behind. Here's the interesting part, couple this with consensus among a wide sampling of pros and feedback and pizza, very funny.
Parentheses, Twitter.
From our community, and we decided to take action.
Yes.
So, they sent them, much like the street sign that said ban Sensei's Divining Top, somebody sent them pizza with ban Felidar Guardian written on the inside of the lid, and haha, very cute, stop that now. But look, it worked. That's 2 for 2.
The pizza had pineapple on it, by the way.
No,
it was the best pizza.
No, it's not pizza.
Wow.
But what they say here, Saheeli-Felidar's win-loss ratio and metagame share has actually increased since the release of Amonkhet in 2 days.
You don't say.
In the Magic Online Standard Leagues since Monday, Saheeli combo made up approximately 40% of the 5-0 and 4-1 deck lists.
That is not a small number.
It is not, but it was also the first 2 days.
Yeah.
So as it got tuned, it would only have got better.
Would it? Or would other decks have, risen up to, I guess we'll never know, and it doesn't matter.
I was going to say, well, we have to ask the owl.
The problem is...
1, 2, 3.
Crunch.
Banned.
Mardu vehicles...
1-2 banned, I guess.
They knew Mardu was going to be strong because there are cards in Amonkhet that are clearly built to beat Mardu vehicles. Manglehorn is great against the deck. By Force is great against the deck. Magma Spray is great against Scrap Heap Scratcher. So they were prepared for that. Because they didn't know that Felidar Saheeli was a thing, there's nothing coming to beat it. So basically all the cards are just getting added to the deck. There's nothing that's going to make it any worse. And it's not necessarily that the deck is incredibly dominant as much as its presence in the metagame prevents people from being able to play certain archetypes because they can just die on turn 4.
So, I know that it was harder and therefore more fragile, but you remember when people lost their minds over Jeskai Ascendancy combo?
Yes.
And after people were getting ridiculous numbers using it in Magic Online, everyone's like, oh, this is going to be a real thing, and then nothing happened because people were like, oh, let's just plan for it. Wizards, the only reason I bring it up is because Wizards said, we're going to wait and see what happens. And they waited and they saw, and then it was fine. I'm a little hesitant here to say that this is a good thing just because okay, so we do this and the deck gets better. That's the reason that you have 2 ban points now. But on the same note, what's the point of having any ban point right after a set comes out if the argument is always new cards, let's see what happens?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of a coin flip.
And the problem was a Pro Tour with nothing but Felidar versus Mardu all weekend. There's just no room for innovation, no room for promotion, no room for anything.
But we don't know that.
No, well, we don't, but we can make educated guesses.
But we can't. Like, this is not a situation where you can make an educated guess. You can make a hunch because we just released a new set. We don't have data. We see what people's first hunch was, which is, hey, Magic Online, let's do this thing that uses all these cards I've already got. Let's just run it. Like, they didn't even have time to get the other cards yet.
Right, but what cards, like, from a brewing perspective, the last few weeks of articles have been incredibly difficult to write, and I've just had to basically write as if Felidar Guardian didn't exist, because otherwise the answer is, yeah, well, this deck can never be played because it doesn't have an answer to turn 4 combo. There's nothing in this set that beats the combo. Manglehorn isn't an answer because it has 2 toughness and no innate protection. Same with Thalia. Like, they even had a card in this set that beats Authority of the Consuls. The deck got better. They didn't get any weapons to beat it.
But what I'm saying is that if we could just look at a format and decide immediately, oh, this deck is unstoppable, then what's the point to start with? Right. Like, it takes time to find these things.
I understand what you're saying. The problem is that this isn't a brand new deck with brand new ideas. This is an existing metagame .force. It wasn't the best deck. Mardu was the best deck, but it was really close. That got better while the other decks that prey on it got worse.
But again, we don't know that until they play it.
The pros know that because the pros have been testing.
Think that.
Oh, right. Yeah, I got to side with Squee here.
The pros have been testing for a week with proxy
against
cards.
Their friends.
No, against each other. That's how pros test all the time. They are the ones who will determine the metagame going forward.
No, they're the ones who are going to determine where the metagame starts. The metagame always evolves.
It hasn't in the past few sets, though. Look at Blue-White Flash. Blue-White Flash dominated the Pro Tour in the standard constructed portion, and it was the dominant deck for months after that until they had to ban 2 cards from it.
So if the argument is always going to be, this deck is now the best one, let's ban something, you're creating a non-sustainable system.
I agree, and I hope that is...
But more to the point, we waited a few months to see that before we decided it was a problem.
I agree with you there, too. This should have happened when Aether Revolt, after Pro Tour Aether Revolt.
Well, this all boils down to they missed something, and they decided to wait and see.
Yep.
And when they did that, they built in a safety valve of the second sets for banning times. And then after 6 weeks, they're like, oh, well, we're going to keep riding this out. Oh, look, there's a whole new set coming out.
Okay, I have 2 questions for the panel of experts.
But since we don't have a panel of experts, us.
I'm going to ask you guys instead. Question number 1. Is this indicative of the inherent problem of having a small group of people in the Future League?
I don't think so.
Because, they missed this combo. They freely admitted that they just didn't even think about this.
Well,
okay. Go ahead, Squee.
Well, so the thing is, what they missed isn't specifically the combo. They missed the consequences of using non-land permanent instead of creature or artifact. Which is a mistake that they made before when they messed up Tarmogoyf leaving the battlefield and not dying. This is a simple word. Thragtusk. Sorry, yes. Duh. Yeah, Thragtusk. Swagtusk. The guy who does amazing stuff in the other set with a broken blinking card. They missed something that is a typical case of, we let this become broad, we assumed it was okay.
So the difference there is that Thragtusk was intentionally designed for that because of all the bounce in the Delver decks and the blue tempo decks. Felidar Guardian, they thought, hey, yeah, this will be cool, and they just completely ignored the fact that it comboed with Saheeli.
Right, but my point is, if they wanted it to interact with Planeswalkers, not just, like, they said non-land permanent, it's almost like a lazy amount of testing, because they're like, okay, we got creatures, we got lands, whatever. But if we just say non-land, now you're opening it to a bunch of types, and there are not that many Planeswalkers to test it against. Right. Especially when every time something has an enter the battlefield blink effect, you have to immediately test it for combos. That's not new design.
Right.
That's why we changed the way a lot of things work when cards are, replaced with new wording cards that do the same thing. And in this case, they just screwed up. It didn't matter if it was Saheeli or something else. This was going to be a problem in some way, shape, or form. So they screwed that up. I don't think that's a future league problem. I think that's just straight up an example of this was taking something too broad, and that's something that they have to learn from for future design.
Well, my argument was if your future league is bigger, the chances of something like this slipping through is smaller.
No matter how big the future league is, it will never be big enough to match up to the literal millions of Magic players who look at the set the minute it's released and come up with stuff that the future league could never have come up with.
Oh, no, I'm not claiming that they're going to find everything. I'm not claiming 100% hit rate. I'm just saying that if a modest increase in their playtesting group might actually yield dividends here.
The last thing they missed was Deceiver Exarch Splinter Twin, right? Like, they haven't missed anything since then. They've made some mistakes, but they didn't just flat out miss something.
Second question. Would this be that big of a deal if they had just gone ahead and banned it with the banned restricted update rather than the emergency, oh, by the way, we're banning this too?
I think for the people that were playing at this tournament, they would have really appreciated 2 more days of notice.
Yeah. Oh, certainly, but I'm just saying, would it be this much news?
Right. But I mean, so it would have been news if that happened. It would have probably even overshadowed everything about the top getting stopped and all that stuff because it's standard.
No, it wouldn't have. No.
Not to you, but for the people outside of the Cluze bubble who spend, $800 a deck every 3 months in standard because they're crazy, those people would care. But what you're going to find is that whether this happened on a Monday or Wednesday, that would have been the big news. The fact that it happened then only really has one impact, and that impact is that there was a tournament coming up and people lost a few days of notice, and we have no way of measuring whether or not this prevented people from going and participating in that event because they just lost their deck.
True. We also, and I've had this discussion with a lot of people, we don't know what a metagame would have looked like if you had banned Cat 5 weeks after Pro Tour Aether Revolt. We have no idea. We'll never know. We won't know if Mardu would have been as dominant. We also won't know what would have happened if it had been banned 2 days earlier. The thing is, we know what a metagame dominated by 2 decks looked like because we just had it for 3 months. And banning this now, 2 days late, is better than waiting 5 weeks and running the risk of releasing an entire large set and the metagame not changing at all. That would be a disaster, especially at the Pro Tour.
But if that's the case, why didn't they just go ahead and ban it?
Because I don't think they wanted to ban another card. I think they're scared of banning stuff in standard.
There are consequences to standard bans. Like, the more often you do it, the less faith people have in it because the shelf life and value of a standard card is already limited. And when you start to worry about, do I want to buy sets of this card or that card, it makes you just less likely to invest because, as I just said, a lot of standard decks get expensive for something that is already going to decrease in value over immediate time. And I think that's a concern. Now, I do think that Chris does raise an important point of the point of the Pro Tour is to show off the new set. They've said this a million times. That's why they said it so soon after it. And if they know that there's a combo deck that's pretty much running entirely existing cards, which may get a few, key silver bullets here and there, and it just stomps over everything, the value that you're going to pull out of this brand new set that this Pro Tour is here to promote is going to get very low. Now, that's when you start running into the realm of how much of this is commercial, WotC wants more money. The hint is that it's all of that. And how much of it is the actual concept of this being a sport that people, practice really hard at and they get better at and then, party time. This is still a commercial endeavor. It's going to be one. They're going to make commercial decisions like this. They just don't want to do it too often because it undermines the credibility of it on a more meta long-term problem.
Completely agree.
I think that one of the things that bothers me about this is just because when they introduce the concept of we're going to do 2 banned things, that means that there's always going to be something that gets banned as soon as new cards enter the format, if they ever use that window. They've just created that situation. And it's going to feel bad every time because we're not going to see whether or not the new cards will do it. Now, like you're saying, yeah, having new cards won't necessarily fix anything. Like if the best deck in the world right now is a mono red deck that kills you on turn 2, then printing a bunch of 5 drops isn't going to fix it. And we know that. There are a lot of things that won't impact it. But when you do a big set, it's really, really hard to just say out of the gate, and nothing in this set can stop this other deck. And nothing that anyone's going to innovate can do that. So we need to preemptively ban it right now and throw everything up in the air and hope that, this banning isn't a problem.
So in the history of Magic, in the history of tournament Magic, which is 23 years, there has been one emergency/addendum ban. And that was Memory Jar.
That was the worst.
That card technically was never tournament legal.
Right. I mean, it was a mistake.
It was a mistake. And so was this. I think the best way I can sum this up, my view on this entire thing is the ban needed to happen. I don't like the way it did happen, but I think it's better than the alternative.
See, stepping away from this card in this metagame in particular, what I don't like is they're like, here are the two ban points, here and here.
Yeah.
And when they say here, we're gonna wait and we're gonna see. And then 2 days later they go, actually, just kidding.
Sure. However, I agree with you. I think what's happened in this case is community pressure, which Wizards we know is very, very quick to bow to. And
whether it makes sense or not, cough, cough, won't mention names here.
I actually called this happening on Twitter. I said that it wasn't too late for them to add it to the bannings, but they needed to move quickly. And lo and behold, here's what happened. I don't think you're going to ever see this again. And if you do, it's going to be many, many years. What you're saying, Chewie, is completely valid. I think, though, that the reaction of not banning it was already causing enough negative press that this needed to be done.
So I do want to point out, Chewie, that a few weeks back when previews for Amonkhet started, I complained that they told us previews would start next week, and they started doing previews the previous week anyway, and that irritated me, because if you're going to tell us when they start, just start them then. And here is a perfect example of why that pissed me off, because if you're going to do your bannings, do them when you say you're going to do them. Truth in advertising, that's what I want. Yeah.
And it's more that it's less that they did or didn't ban Felidar Guardian. Honestly, I don't play Standard. I could give a damn, personally. It's that Wizards stepped outside of what they've told us this is how it is.
It violated expectations.
Yeah, and whether this was a good idea or not is effectively immaterial when they're doing whatever the hell they want, whenever the hell they want, regardless of what they've said they will do.
Like, as you can tell just from what I was saying before, I don't like the fact that they're banning it so soon to see it. But I think that the thing that's really making, like, to go back to Cluze's earlier point, the fact that it was delayed 2 days.
Wait, when does the ban and restricted list thing happen?
Monday.
It is on a Monday, okay.
Yeah. So the fact that, a few days went through, and after seeing, from all the arguments they made between pressure from pros and seeing, what happens in Magic Online.
Oh, Robot Squee got sucked into the...
changed.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, yeah, I'm back. Okay. I don't know how much of that you heard, so I'm just going to say it again.
Yeah.
The fact that for all the reasons that they gave us about going through all the data from Magic Online and getting, comments from the pros and whatever else they looked at, the fact that they considered this a big enough problem to just go ahead and do an addendum ban, but it wasn't a big enough problem to just ban it on the first day, makes the entire concept of what is and isn't banned feel very volatile. That's a lot less comfortable. Because you're living in a world of people pre-ordering cards. You're living in a world of people spending lots of time building decks and playtesting. Like Chris just said, they're playtesting from the moment these cards are revealed. And when you're in an environment where, oh no, everyone's upset, let's ban it, which I don't think is what happened, but I think the fact that they were willing to tilt the scale over that last little bit is significant. Because they obviously had, concerns going into this. But it wasn't enough before everyone got mad, and it became enough once they all got mad. That's still a thing. It's still a factor. Like, that's uncomfortable.
I have to wonder how much of it was community uproar and how much of it was people like Kibler saying, well, fine, I'm not going to the Pro Tour then.
I would wager it's probably more the community uproar than that, because the fact of the matter is when you're a Magic celebrity, you're only a Magic celebrity as long as you're, related to Magic. Exactly. And they will replace you with other people. Like, you can't just stay a Magic celebrity if you stop playing Magic. Like, we'll know who you are, but that doesn't impact sales at all.
Yeah, but I'm sure the high-profile folks saying things was certainly a factor. I do want to applaud WotC in general for their willingness to listen to and to react to their customers fairly well. There's a danger, though, right? If they become too reactionary. I mean, Standard is the lifeblood of Magic. It's what keeps the game alive. And the only reason that Standard succeeds is because people have confidence in how the Standard cycle works, and they're willing to ride that merry-go-round. And these sorts of, sudden out-of-the-blue bannings when we didn't expect them, well, we did expect them and then they didn't happen and then they happened. Anyway, the point is it erodes confidence, and I think that is worrisome in the long run.
Yeah. The only issue I have with this is that Wizards of the Coast is great at listening to the community, yes. But how many times are they going to make a decision, listen to the community, and reverse it before they start listening to the community and then making a decision? Like, at some point, we have to stop giving them credit for making mistakes and correcting them and start asking them to stop making the mistakes in the first place.
Well, I don't think they do anything because they think it's a mistake. You can't really ask someone to not screw up. No, because I do it all the time and it doesn't work.
Of course, but if they have a history of making mistakes that the community knows are mistakes, then surely they could say, hey, here's a change we're thinking about making. Let's get a random sampling of trusted community members who we know are capable of giving well thought out opinions and ask them what they think. You're not just going to go and say, put this on Twitter and let anybody talk about it, obviously.
Yeah, but like, how do you, okay, so you have acknowledged that there are people that have more reasonable, thought-out opinions on this than the random person on Twitter, right? We're acknowledging that.
Yeah.
So what makes you think they're not doing that?
It would have been revealed by now if they were.
Because they may have lots of perfectly reasonable people that don't have all of the freak-out Twitter reaction stuff that we see that they talk to. They're not just doing these things in a void.
I hope you're right.
I mean, like, we won't know. I mean, it's business. But it's one of those things where enough of the time we freak out over stuff and it turns out to be nothing, that I don't think it's fair to say that they should listen to us more and then never screw up, because we're wrong a lot.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they should consult more. You don't have to, like, we're not running the company. We don't work there. We don't have the expertise that they have. But sometimes they miss things and somebody else sees them. Consulting never hurt anyone. Just get them to sign NDAs.
Well, I mean, that's something that you legally have to do. But I do think that it's very likely that they're consulting more than just the in-house stuff. That's generally how these things work.
I hope you're right. I fear you're wrong.
We'll never know.
Well. So, my other question is, this is the question I've had since the cat combo was discovered and proven to not completely destroy the format, is, why was it so bad? Like, it wasn't the only deck. For a good long while, there were 3 decks. And that's relatively good for Standard. It's not the best.
There were, for the last 2 months, there were really only 2 decks, Mardu and 4-color. You could play other stuff, but...
And you could play other stuff and it would finish, in the top 8 or top 16.
But you had to hope for good matchups. The problem with the copycat combo was not so much that it was an unbeatable deck. It's that it warped the format around it.
Huh, just like Miracles.
Imagine that. You had to have an answer in your deck to turn 4 Saheeli combo. And if you didn't, you would just lose to it. So decks like Mono White Humans, which really doesn't have good answers to the combo, were unplayable. And for all we know, Mono White Humans might have been aggressive and fast enough to keep up with and go underneath Mardu. You couldn't really play any green-based deck because green had literal 0 answers to the combo. Black had the cards with the best answer to the combo. You had to keep mana open all the time, which slowed down your development, and then you were just losing to things like Torrential Gearhulk or infinite Thopter tokens from Well of Virtuoso. Like, the existence of the combo just completely warped the format.
So, thank you, by the way, for knocking that out of the park. That was a nice setup, if I do say so myself. So, now that the Crazy Cat Lady is no more. Well, the crazy cat lady's there, but her cats have all been taken away.
Oh.
She was on an episode of Hoarders, and they were like, this is not healthy. And all the cats were taken away and adopted out to people or whatever happens, or they're at a farm upstate.
With the top.
Wait, no, the top got taken out back and shot. We old yeller.
That makes Cluze so happy.
So now that this format warping combo is no more, that should, in theory,
Stop the top!
Shut up, Cluze. That should, in theory,
Too late.
Open up Standard for more decks to pop up, right?
No, format solved. We can all go home. Good night, everybody.
Well, this has been another fun-filled episode. I hate you, by the way. For those wondering, there's a running joke that people on the internet swear that the format is solved.
And normally
After one event. Yeah.
And normally you have me on the episode when that happens.
It is kind of eerie, isn't it?
Yeah. Funny that.
So, as our resident viewer and, all around, I guess, English person, what does this do for Standard? Like for realsies and serious?
Alright, so first things first, completely throw out 90% of the results from this week's tournament.
Already done. Don't have to cover it.
A lot of that is informed by card selection, card availability. Oh my God, my deck just got banned. And, there are some nuggets here. Mardu, and can we please stop calling it Mardu vehicles? There's one vehicle in the deck. Can we just call it Mardu Heart? Can we agree on that? Thank you.
That was
that's still going to be
Cluze 9000.
That's still
wherever you are.
It's still going to exist. It's still going to be good. We haven't got rid of it, but that's fine. It being a deck is fine. The mono black aggro deck that Caleb Shearer played might have some legs. I think it needs a little tweaking. I think that of a lot of decks. But it's definitely got some promise. The black white zombies deck, in 14th place by Zach Cordillo. That's the sort of thing I think we can really see opened up here. Like, the format is now wide open. It's a brand new format. Nobody knows what's going on. They know 2 or 3 of the building blocks. There's a Jeskai Torrential Gear Hulk type deck. Black Green is still very strong, and Mardu Heart is still a deck. But other than that, we're wide open right now.
I mean, Black Green sort of got pushed out by the combo, right?
Yes, although you wouldn't have thought so because it runs both Walking Ballista, which is a great answer, and Grasp of Darkness, which is a great answer.
But still, it ended up falling out of the big 3.
Yeah.
And I was told today that one of my coworkers, a salesman at the dealership that I drive for, is a big Magic player. Well, he plays a lot of Magic, let's put it that way.
Giant cards.
He plays giant cards out in the park. Screw the giant chessboard. No. But anyway, he swore up and down that Mardu Vehicles just has a really hard time getting through things like Ishkana. And with the Crazy Cat Lady gone, then Black Green Delirium will probably rise up for a while until the metagame starts to move around. Is that a thing?
That's a fair statement, especially since you really couldn't afford to tap out on turn 5 to cast Ishkana because you would die.
Exactly. Which is probably a good reason why that deck ended up falling out of the big 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think you'll see it.
He went on a nice long rant about Standard. But so here's a thought, Chris. One of the things that he said that actually intrigued me. Do you think that a really low to the ground control deck could conceivably come out on top?
I don't know how those two phrases go together.
I didn't either. That's why I'm glad we've got Chris on tonight.
Low to the ground control deck. I have to imagine that would be black-white based with a whole bunch of cheap removal and then winning the game with maybe Liliana the Last Hope or something.
I think he just meant like it could get out and do things before Mardu Vehicles could run it over, and then it could outlast things like Delirium.
Well, the problem is, that sort of a deck is basically mid-range, and they exist. They tend to sputter when they draw the wrong half of their deck in the wrong matchup. But yes, it's a viable archetype, for sure. All I want to do right now, by the way, is just jam Liliana Death's Majesty, in every single deck, and just play with her constantly, because that card is sick.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, gosh. Oh,
She makes a lot of zombies.
And she brings things back from the graveyard that are big.
She's actually the 5-drop reanimation effect you want.
Yes.
It's pretty sweet.
Oh, I have nothing in my graveyard? Cool. Guess I'll just put something there and make a blocker. Is this good?
Yeah, she actually does capture what I really like about playing reanimator decks. You're either getting back something with a solid effect from the early game, or you're setting yourself up for it. It's the kind of stuff that we used to play multiple cards to enable. It's just all in one here.
So, Chewie, you remember Will, right, from Horde and Oceans?
Yeah.
You know he's qualified for the Pro Tour.
That's also unfortunate, but okay.
I mean, it's great for him. I was super happy for him. I've been doing a little bit of testing.
I'm sorry for the Pro Tour, though.
That's also fair. Doing a little bit of testing with him and on his behalf, and one of the decks we tried that worked out pretty well to start with, but lost some ground, was an Abzan mid-range deck, pretty much in the realm of what your car dealership friend was talking about. But for those of you listening who are fans of value, I was able to pull off the following play, in which it was a turn 1 Vessel of Nascency, turn 2 you crack it, and I don't remember what I put in my hand, it wasn't relevant. Turn 3 you cast Corrupted Graphstone, the 2 mana rock that only taps for mana if you have something in your graveyard with a color, you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Yeah. Turn 4, kill something. So turn 5, I go tap 5 mana, 4 land on the Graphstone, cast Liliana. -3 Liliana, getting back Emeria Shepherd from my graveyard. Emeria Shepherd is the 4/4 flying angel that when you play a plains, when you landfall, return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a plains, put it onto the battlefield instead. Play a plains, get back Baloth Null, which returns 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Value, sir. Value. Delicious value.
I think the thing that I like about Liliana is that it just reminds me of playing a Sun Titan.
Oh
God.
Because you have something that repeatedly digs out the things that you use to block to keep it alive. And it just keeps happening.
Incidentally, there was an infinite combo with Liliana and Felidar Guardian.
Yeah, that's true. I did notice that one when they first spoiled her. I'm not going to disagree that Felidar Guardian was too good. I just think a lot of the stuff surrounding it was poorly timed.
It's such a shame because there were so many fun, unbroken things you could do with it. Like blinking most Planeswalkers was just fun and powerful, but not busted. And the card went infinite with Panharmonicon and Cats. And like, okay, it's a 4-card combo with some cards that you probably wouldn't want to play otherwise. So that's the kind of combo they don't care about. But we lose all of these fun decks because of Saheeli Rai, who nobody plays in anything else ever. So
I did appreciate getting them for like $4.
Yeah, and who was basically worthless until like 7 minutes after the Felidar Guardian was revealed.
I mean, I appreciate the fact that she combos well with the new dragon, but
Dagron.
Look at all that majesty.
Yep.
Look at Liliana's majesty.
So, since this week's metagame only kind of matters, we should just run through it relatively quickly.
Yeah, so you want to tell them what the event was?
Well, it was I don't know, where was it? Where was it? This was Atlanta, right?
Atlanta.
Hotlanta, yes.
Yes. Star City had an open in Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, you have to say it that way, Georgia.
It's pronounced Peachtree.
I've been there. It's quite a nice
which
city.
one?
Peachtree.
Oh, okay.
Over near Peachtree at the Peachtree Center.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, so Andrew, Bill, you looked at these to see if there were like new cards that made their way in, right?
Yeah, most of them had at least a few new cards.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll give you sort of the top level rundown. So just before we even go through, I'm just going to tell you, of the top 8, there were 5 Mardu Vehicles decks. They were not the same Mardu Vehicles decks. It's sort of misleading when you see it there. They're actually running a lot of different innovations, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
The first place deck by Andrew Jessup, I think it's just running Cut to Ribbons in the main, Magma Spray in the board, and the new cycling Red-Black land as its new cards.
Yeah.
But it's also running, a little bit bigger, I think. Like, you're rocking the Avacyn, the Thalia, 4 Gideons, all that kind of stuff. So, like, it's a little different speed. And it's running Ally of Zendikar Gideon. This is important because there's another Gideon now that's relevant. He'll show up later.
There's 2 Gideons that are relevant now. I think the Martial Paragon is going to see some play before it rotates.
Is that the B team one?
Yeah. It's the best intro deck Planeswalker they've printed yet.
Yeah, but
that's like saying this is the best bloody nose I've ever had. But okay,
it untaps Glorybringer.
Yeah, you know what else does that? Casting of the Glorybringer. You're spending 5 mana.
I mean, sure, if you want to win.
I usually do.
Oh my god. Okay,
anyway.
So yeah, Mardu, good stuff.
Yeah, so that's the first one.
We're still calling it vehicles. Chris said, there's one. Sometimes there's two.
Mardu Hart is a perfectly descriptive name.
So
second place, we've got Ryan McDonough.
Right.
See, here he's playing Cultivator's Caravan. There's 2. Boom. And Glorybringer.
Glorybringer is the noteworthy friend here. Glorybringer is really good.
Yes, it is.
Just because it's a new card, I'll tell you. Glorybringer is the 5 mana dragon with flying haste, and it's the exert one. So if you exert it when it attacks, it does 4 damage to target creature an opponent controls. So this is both your, swingy, hasty, top end, and also your targeted creature removal. And the fact that it does both the turn it comes out is really sick, because then if they've used removal on it, who cares? You just killed one of their creatures and did 4 damage to them, or killed whatever planeswalker they're relying on that, creature you just killed to defend. It's just great.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Do you play in this 5 mana slot in these decks? Do you play Glorybringer or Archangel Avacyn?
Yes.
Oh.
I think that's still being determined.
Well, you noticed here that Archangel Avacyn's in the board.
Yeah, well, the other one, the first place deck had Avacyn here and no Glorybringers.
Right.
And I was wondering, one attacks every other turn and kills a thing, and the other one saves all your stuff, but has vigilance and can flip and wipe the board herself. So,
right.
I don't know.
And that'll be something that they'll have to figure out, because you can still only run so many 5-drops.
Exactly.
Especially when you're technically down an active card because someone's crewing a vehicle. And the someone might be Gideon. We'll see. But yeah, so that's a noteworthy change in direction here.
Yeah.
Moving to the third place deck, which is also Mardu vehicles.
So that's
this one.
Sam Kalla, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam Kalla is running Hazaret the Fervent, as in the red god. As a reminder, gods can drive cars, even when they're not, able to attack and block.
He also has main deck Cast Out, which is interesting.
Yeah. So this is utilizing that little bit of the white to just get rid of a problem.
This is weird. I thought with Hazaret and Cast Out and Nahiri in the sideboard, I was expecting at least one Archfiend of Ifnir in here.
Wait, how are the... Oh, because discard a card, okay. Is the Archfiend gonna see much standard play in this deck?
Who knows? The card's really good. Having played with and against it, it's a very powerful must-answer threat.
Yeah.
Guess we'll see. It doesn't do things by itself, though. You have to be doing other stuff to make it work. So I can see why that would slow it down. But anyway, let's not start ruminating about random cards that we haven't seen yet.
Right. So just as a note, that's 3 decks that are all called Mardu vehicles, but they all have fairly different card compositions. It's not like they're just running a shell and swapping out one card. There's some differences here. I
mean, they're all running mostly the same cards, though, thus far.
45-ish are the same.
Yeah, but I think the cards that they're swapping out are changing things up substantially. There's a big difference between having Avacyn in your deck and having Hazaret in your deck.
Very much so.
That's going to play very differently.
However, 4th place. Oh,
yeah. Do you like white, Cluze? That's right, I caught you not paying attention. And muted. Silly Cluze.
I think Cluze might have away.
Here I am trying to say, yes, I do, and I didn't even realize I was muted. I'm even looking at the deck. God, all of the insightful comments I've made in the past couple of minutes, gone forever.
Completely gone forever. You just thought we were talking over you like jerks.
I did.
But yeah, so white-red humans is 4th. So we got Boros.
Wait. I feel like we have a name for the color combination that is white and red.
Yeah, it's called good.
Pink.
I believe we have 2 names for the combination that is white and red. It is both good and Boros. Go on.
And pink.
Yeah, so pink humans. This has...
I hate you all.
I mean, it's Boros. It's awesome. And this actually has some new cards too. So... This deck is rocking the Glorybound Initiate, which is the 2-mana 3/1, who, when it exerts, it becomes essentially a 4/4 with lifelink. Pretty sick.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good for your 2 mana, right? Like, that's the white Tarmogoyf every other turn.
Or is it?
Every other turn.
Slide over a column, sir.
Oh no, we're not done.
Okay.
We're not done. But yeah, we see the return of a lot of other, like, human-y cards, but, you know, the other new card that we have popping up down here is also a 2-drop, and it's a red and a white 3/2, and that's the Honored Crop Captain, who, when it attacks, other attacking creatures get +1/+0 till end of turn. This deck's running 30 creatures and battlements.
This deck is gorgeous.
This is very Boros. And it's, of course, rocking with all of these effects that, you know, care about attacking it. And, you know, the one that I just mentioned, that Exert one, you can get around that drawback by running 4 copies of Always Watching, the 3-mana enchantment, where non-token creatures you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance.
And, you know, that works really well with the Glory Bringers in the sideboard.
Yeah, you got 4 of them. You're dragoning a lot.
Oh god, I love this deck.
Yeah, in fact, it's a nice, like, Cluze likes this deck also because it's all 4s of something.
I was gonna say, look at how many different cards are in the sideboard.
Yeah, the sideboard is 4 Glory Bringer, 3 Selfless Spirit, 4 Gideon Ally of Zendikar, and 4 Needle Spires. That's right, attack land. Your sideboard has more land to attack if for some reason you need it. And attack land does really well with +1/+1 and vigilance, because then it makes...
Bravo, Zach Stern. Bravo. This deck is a thing of beauty.
So
wait, what's the creature type you choose with Metallic Mimic? Okay.
Eldrazi, you choose Eldrazi so that when your Hanwell Battlements melds with your Hanwell Garrison, the horrors that it brings in get +1/+1.
Ah, nice.
I think you just named Pink. Pink humans. So yeah.
So what? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's terrible.
She is still a rock star.
All right, so the first 4 decks then have white and red. So 5th place is, of course...
And also, what's the rule of thumb for a new format?
Hit it.
Yeah, play aggro.
When in doubt, smack him in the face.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
words to live by.
In fact, for this one, hey, Chewie, do you want to talk about number 5?
Well, hang on. Before we leave number 4...
Oh, yeah.
We almost got to see the meld on camera.
Oh, I saw people getting hyped about that.
Yeah. Okay, carry on.
Yeah. So 5th place, do you want to go over this one, Chewie? Because it's got a lot of cards that you know.
Sure.
But I haven't said in a long time.
It's Brennan DeCandio playing Black-Green Delirium. Remember that deck? Yeah, that's a deck.
Yeah.
And it's got it's got a bunch of your normal things. Noxious Gearhulk, Walking Ballista, Grimflayer, Manglehorn. Hey, look at the new guy. Tireless Tracker, Gaunty Lord of Luxury, and Ishkana. It's not running the full ridiculous +1/+1 counter package that we've seen before.
Yeah.
It's got Liliana the Last Hope, the previous one.
Yep.
And it's got Kool-Aid Man, Obnixilis Reignited. Oh yeah. And then your usual Delirium stuff, your Vessel of Nascency, your Traverse the Ulvenwald. It's also got Never to Return, which seems pretty good. Pretty okay. The first part, I think, is much more important than the second.
Yeah, the second part, you might not even want to get rid of if it screws up your Delirium. You're not really running a lot of sorceries, just Traverse, I think.
Yeah. And you've got, of course, Fatal Push, Grasp of Darkness, and To the Slaughter, because, killing things. So yeah, nice and normal. There's a Scarab Feast in the board.
Yep.
Oh look, Kalitas. Oh, there's other Liliana, Death's Majesty, in the board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it to it. Do it to it.
What he said, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and Yeheni's Expertise, always good to see. Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, is this just made to punch Marty Vehicles in the face?
Yes.
Damn. Okay then. So 6th place. Oh, here is another outlier. Caleb Scherer is running Mono Black Aggro. With, So you've got your...
It's actually pretty cool.
This is, yeah, you've got your Scrap Heap Scroungers, of course, because aggro and black. So yeah. You've got Walking Ballista, because standard. You've got Bone Picker. Seems good.
Bone Picker is sick.
Yeah, Bone Picker's pretty good. Your Dread Wanderers, yet another in the long line of 2/1 zombies that come back from the graveyard at rare. And by long line, I mean, there've been a couple.
This one can block.
Yes, he can. You've got Glint Sleeve Siphoner, Night Market Lookout, which is a, neat.
That card is hilarious. I'm actually really surprised there are no vehicles, even just like a Aethersphere Harvester or something, because crewing a vehicle with Night Market Lookout is really fun.
Yeah, I was about to ask, are there any ways to tap this other than punching people? And I don't see any. And then your board consists of your spells consist of Fatal Push, Grasp of Darkness, Collective Brutality, and Never to Return. Oh, and we've got Liliana the Last Hope, of course. So yeah. Seems good.
You get more Scarab Feast in the board, so.
Yeah, screw your entire graveyard. Or, pay 1 to cycle, whichever.
Yeah.
Hey, Cluze, there's Transgress the Mind in this one too. Be sure not to mouse over that.
I haven't the faintest clue what you're talking about. There's no card of that name anywhere.
It's probably better that way. Hey Chris, what's with the Harsh Scrutiny in the book?
Yes. I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay.
I mean, it's a discard that hits some stuff that Transgress the Mind doesn't. I'm not sure. I guess turn 4, it's great to take out in potential Avacynths that might be waiting for your turn 5 Fumigate, which this deck isn't running. Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong deck. Yeah. I don't know. Like, there are cards that are very difficult for aggro decks to beat, right? Like creature cards, that is. Kalitas, for one thing.
Kalitas! Yeah.
Transgress gets that. I don't know. You'd have to ask Caleb.
Spend 1 mana, get an Ishkanai out of their hand. That seems good.
Yeah, but Transgress also gets that. And they can't reanimate it.
So you want 6.
Maybe. Okay. Just wondering.
It does scry. That's not nothing.
That is definitely not nothing.
It could also just be, this is the opening, this is my solution if something else turns out to be busted that we didn't expect. Like, oh, it turns out the Glory Bringer is really, really good and I can't beat it. Well, go away. So.
Pretty much. And then in 7th, we've got another Mardu Vehicles, except not really, by Lawrence Vess. This one is running, Avacyn and Thalia and just things you'd expect. Also, it's running 3 Gideon Ally of Zendikar, nothing weird there, and 3 Gideon of the Trials, all in the main.
Gideon.
Look at all them Gideons.
I really want to know if he ever emblemed and it saved him.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. As usual, I didn't watch any of the Star City coverage. And my question would be, how many times did he emblem to buy himself a turn? Because that's really what it would do. It's like, well, instead of punching me in the face, you have to punch my Gideon. Okay.
Unless you have blockers.
Well, even so, you'd have blocked then. So.
Yeah.
See, I'm just curious because I really think that's the power of the Gideon emblem is buy yourself just 1 more turn. Which in Magic is sometimes all you need to turn things around. If I don't die this turn, I win. That comes up more frequently than you'd expect.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. Somebody that watched will comment and tell us that we're stupid, so whatever.
10 people that watched will tell us on Twitter.
Yeah. And then in 8th place, Sean Crum is running, this is actually the least of the new stuff.
Yeah.
Of the Mardu Vehicles deck.
Yeah, I don't think this one's really
This looks
changed.
this looks like last year's model, actually.
Like, it doesn't have the cycling lands in it or anything new.
Yeah, no new.
It's got Magma Spray in the board, so.
Oh, there it is. Yep. Look at that.
So yeah, like the reason that I said up front that there were 5 of these is because you can tell they're not running the same deck, and they're certainly not all running the same kind of vehicles. Some of them aren't even running vehicles. Just Heart of Kir. Mardu vehicle.
I mean, I'm gonna disagree and say these are all close enough to be the same deck with just some tech choices swapped in and out.
Yeah.
But it's still...
I'm more just highlighting the fact that it's first week, people are all trying some different things. They didn't just show up with their old Mardu decks and say like, oh good, cats are gone. Like, they're trying stuff.
Exactly, yeah. So that's the top 8. Now, if we move outside the top 8, we see our first bit of weirdness with a blue-red Thermo Alchemist deck.
Oh, I'm so happy this deck is back. Blech.
That did not sound like you were serious.
No, sir.
But dude, Glorybringer.
Yeah, it's essentially the Thermo Alchemist deck that you know and love, or in Chris's case, know and vomit on. with Glorybringer.
The sideboard's more interesting.
The sideboard.
Sweltering Suns.
Got Sweltering Suns and Magma Spray. That's pretty good.
So this deck still can't beat a Resolve Planeswalker? Got it.
Which one?
Most of them. I mean, yeah, it can go burn to the face, but the amount of burn that this deck has is not great. I guess
how many things can take a Glorybringer?
How many things?
Like, how many Planeswalkers can take a Glorybringer?
Nahiri does a pretty good job of it.
When
it's tapped.
Yeah, it's got haste, dude. She's dead.
Yeah, you just play it after the Glorybringer. You're talking about can take a hit from one?
Well, what I'm saying is, like, its solution for Planeswalkers is there's a Planeswalker out, I cast this, even if they have a blocker, it's dead, I hit it, it's probably dead.
Yeah.
Or it's weakened so much it can't use its better abilities.
This deck's weakness was always like the 6-mana Challenger or anything big that could come out and just take over a board state or solid life gain. Like Peace of Mind was a really good way to beat this deck when it was around for the first time.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the words peace of mind and really good don't often go in the same sentence, but
yeah.
In a set that actually wants you to discard, we might be in a place where it's better.
So let's see. What else? Down in 12th, we've got a green-black aggro deck. Oh, okay, this is the green-black aggro deck. Walking Ballista, Siphoner, the Greenbelt Rampager. Oh, yay, 1-mana Elephant. Grim Flayer, Long Tusk Cub, Winding Constrictor, and Rishkar. And then things you'd expect like Blossoming Defense, Fatal Push, Grasp of Darkness, Attune with Ether, and Never to Return. There's the 1 Manglehorn in the board.
Dispossess.
And, and Dispossess. What are you dispossessing?
Aetherworks Marvel or Torrential Gear Hulk.
There you go. The two things that those decks need to win, right?
Yeah, basically.
Seems to be good. Hey, look, speaking of which, there's our first Temur Aetherworks deck in 13th.
Should play banned. I hear some guy started off 6-0 at a GP with banned Aetherworks and got a feature match and then got stomped by Martyr Vehicles.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
Yeah.
It looks like nothing really changed here except for Magma Spray and a little bit of sideboard.
Interesting that there's no Rogue Refiner in this deck. Not Rogue Refiner, Well of Virtuoso.
I was going to say, you mean the 4 in the main? Yeah. I guess because it's running the Dynavolt Tower, it decided to go that way?
Yeah. I mean, this is more the Temur Tower deck with Aetherworks Marvel and Ulamog thrown in. But
yeah, a little bit.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, it was top 16. Seems good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now we've got the Black-White Zombies deck in 14th that you really liked. What do we have here? So the Scrounger, Crypt Breaker, that makes sense. Diregraph Colossus.
Yeah, baby.
Wow. Dread Wanderer, that makes sense. Lord of the Accursed, of course. Zombie Lords are always fun. Plague Belcher, he's good. Oh god. Relentless Dead, yup. Wayward Servant, he's good. Liliana the Last Hope, not the other one that makes zombies.
No, well, this one makes zombies if you limit break.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, you have plenty of zombies, so I'm guessing her other two abilities are slightly more important here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, your Fatal Push, Grasp of Darkness, and then 2 copies of Dark Salvation, because, damn it, I said zombies.
You did.
I saw this card kill so many things that for 3 mana, that you're just like, that was disgusting.
I like the Binding Mummy in the board.
Dude, have you ever played that Magic card?
Oh no, I'm not being sarcastic. I like the Binding Mummy in the board.
It is a messed up Magic card, my friend. Oh my god. I had 2 of those in play at once, and I just didn't feel like I could lose.
I also like the Plains.
Yeah, well, they're in there for when you go bigger, I guess, because you have 20 lands and you have 4 drops in your sideboard.
It's important to remember that.
Interesting. Oh, Shambling Venser in the main. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. You're good.
We're okay. I love this deck so much. Like, this deck was on coverage a fair amount because it's new, it's innovative. The stuff he was able to do, like Wayward Servant just pecks away at them. Plague Belcher just says, go on, remove me. I dare you. And it's just so easy to make zombies and bring zombies back. And the deck just ticks so nicely. It's a little heavy at the 3-drop slot. There might be some stuff that needs to change out, but it's a really, really sweet deck to see in action.
It looks pretty awesome. So, moving down to 15th, we have an actual honest-to-goodness Temur Aetherworks deck.
It's got a lot of new in.
Yeah, not so much the Dynavolt deck with the Aetherworks thrown in, that we saw before. So this has the Rogue Refiner, the Servant of the Conduit, the Whirler Virtuoso, and Ulamog, of course. It's got the other stuff, the Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot, Harness Lightning, the Aetherworks Marvel, of course, cause, that's how the deck wins. Attune with Ether, Barrels, Expertise, your Chandra Torch of Defiance, and then you've got the new stuff. There's a Nissa Steward of Elements in here.
Oh.
Eddie, sir.
And also Bounty of the Luxa.
Oh.
Flood counters.
This seems really, really good in this deck, actually.
I mean, there's a rule. My friend Mike, not the beardy man, and I have a rule. If it's green and it says draw a card, it's probably good.
Probably.
And this says draw a card and makes you mana.
Hey, wait a minute. Tireless Tracker is green and essentially says draw a card. That card's ridiculous. Yeah, I see what you did there. So yeah, there's also, actually no, there's not. I mean, there's an Evolving Wilds in the main, I guess.
Yes, the main got a sheltered ticket.
Sheltered, oh yeah, the cycle.
It benefits from actually having allied colors in it, so it gets to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks, so how does Nissa fit into the Aetherworks deck there, Chris?
A couple of ways. The Scry 2 is really good if you're about to spin your Marvel. Like, no, I don't want these 2 lands. Go away. Also, the 0, once she gets up high enough, can sometimes just let you cast your Ulamog. And hey, hitting people for 10 out of nowhere is apparently quite good. And sometimes you'll be able to do that.
That's what I hear. Especially on a turn that Bounty of the Luxa is on, here's mana.
Yeah. This deck is running 1 or maybe 2 more lands than Aetherworks normally runs because of the attunes. But that could be because Bounty of the Luxa is in the deck and also is running a cycle land and an Evolving Wilds. So it kind of does make sense.
Yeah.
I really like this list. This is a lot. I like this one a lot more than the last one with the tower. I'm not a Dynavolt Tower lover.
Yeah, this seems pretty cool.
The reason they're only running 1 Nissa is it's pretty bad to hit off Aetherworks Marvel.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Unless you have Oath of Gideon, which is not in this deck. Stop looking for it.
Yeah,
I would hope it's not in Temur.
There is that. And then in 16th place, rounding out the top 16, we've got a Jeskai control deck that's running Torrential Gear Hulk and all of the normal removal things that you'd expect. Cast Out, Censor, Disallow, Essence Scatter, Glimmer of Genius, Harness Lightning, Magma Spray, Negate, Pull from Tomorrow, pretty good, and Sweltering Suns because, red.
They're running red, and there's more than one problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. There's also the Sphinx of the Final Word in the board, which seems really funny.
So I've seen the light. I thought Pull from Tomorrow was just a bad Sphinx's revelation, but I forgot one of my own rules, which loosely paraphrased is just because something is a bad something else doesn't mean it's bad. Like when Chandra Flamecaller came out, everybody said, this is worse than Elspeth Sun's Champion. Well, there's a lot of room under worse than Elspeth Sun's Champion to still be very good in Standard.
Very true.
And I've seen this card cast and resolved, and
I mean, it says draw X cards and it says instant, so.
Is that a good combination?
I mean, yeah, it seems good, yeah. Besides, saying something is a bad Sphinx's revelation, I can't say that on the show. It's like saying, this is the worst lap dance I've ever had. It's like, well, okay.
I thought you were just going to go for something more simple like, I found the worst $20 on the side of the road. It was terrible.
This is the worst. And also, since Sphinx's revelation was borderline busted,
Yeah, in a format where you can go long, effects like that are game breaking.
Yeah.
In the case of this one, you have to be able to get there because it doesn't do much until you get to a decent number of X. You can't just chuck it for one and feel smart.
No, casting it for one, not
It's stupid. Yeah. Like you generally are going to need that X to get to like a 3+, and even then you'd much rather it be at 4 or 5. Not just for the normal reasons, but because that discard a card at the end matters.
So I don't know where it ends. Are we going past the top 16, by the way?
If there's something that needs to be talked about.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can find it because it was on the camera round 1 and it won the first game. I don't remember if it won the entire match.
Something tells me that didn't make it all the way to the end of day 2, did it?
It did. Well, sometimes you never know. Like somebody has to start 1-0 and carry on. No, it didn't make it. It was a blue-white control deck. I think some of the choices were a bit suboptimal, but he went, turn 7, approach of the Second Sons. Turn 8, land, go, end of your turn, cast, pull from tomorrow for 5. Untap. Draw approach of the Second Son. Win the game.
That's funny.
Brilliant.
A G, as the kids say.
Do the kids still say that? I hate them. So, moving over, let's take a glance at the day 2 metagame breakdown here, where we had 28 Mardu Vehicles decks out of the tops, out of the 116 players that made it.
No. It's almost exactly 25%. 25% would be 112.
Yeah.
And you said 116 made it?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's very close to 25%.
Yeah, so that's a lot. But again, this is week 1, and the other big already known deck had been banned 3 days ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sadly, that means that we almost have to discount this tournament as far as what the meta is going to look like. We can totally look at it for how some decks might shape up, but how they all interact with each other is sort of...
This is more of an interesting thought experiment to see what the meta looks like when one of the 2 big decks is banned.
Except it happened, so it's not really a thought experiment.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, it would be a thought experiment. We just actually have it, so it's fun to talk about.
Yeah. There were 14 black-green Delirium decks, 7 blue-red control decks, 6 Jeskai control decks, 6 green-white tokens decks, which the first one is down in 20th place. Hang on, I lost my list. Oh, and 5 black-green aggro decks, and then from there it's 4s and 3s. With such things as the Temur Aetherworks, black-green energy, Sultai Delirium, green-red monsters, Bant Aetherworks, Sultai Control, blue-red Emerge. Hey, remember that deck? It's still around. Sort of. White-red humans, black-red aggro, Jund Delirium. Just throw all the colors in there with black and green. Screw it. Jund monsters. What are monsters? Am I forgetting something?
Monstrous?
Because no, that's Theros.
Get Wrecked Monster?
No.
He's a
It's
fraud.
probably like Sheffet Monitor, maybe the Hasty Crocodile.
So, in 46th place, we have Jund Monsters, which is running Catacomb Sift. Okay, so Scrounger, Ballista, Catacomb Sifter, Glorybringer, Reality Smasher, Servant, Tireless Tracker, Ronus the Indomitable.
Wait, Reality Smasher in a 3-color deck?
Yeah.
Delicious greed.
And along with a single copy of Wastes in the deck, too.
Yeah. Is he running Sheffet Monitor?
No.
Yeah, I see. If he was running Sheffet Monitor, I could understand it, because that could go and get your wastes for you.
Yeah.
I love that card.
I mean, he is running Attune with Ether, so.
Oh, well, that makes everything okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. I still don't know why it's called monsters other than just big scary creatures, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's what Monsters has become. It used to be when it was out, it was the monstrous mechanic from Theros. But I guess it's now just big dumb creatures. But this deck isn't even really that big dumb creature-y.
Not really.
I mean, Reality Smasher, sure. Glorybringer, sure. It's just like green, red, mid-range, or Junding things.
It's just Jund.
How many Junds could a Jund? Okay, anyway.
Jund it out.
X, where X equals Jund.
Oh, okay.
Also, Cut to Ribbons is a great card. I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah, probably. You think it'll end up in the Mardu Vehicles decks as just a staple?
I think so. It takes out a lot of things that cause the deck trouble. It doesn't, unfortunately, take out Ishkana. But what it does do is sit in your graveyard and basically act as a clock.
Yeah. Once Ishkana gets in the way, then, and you can't break through. This again came from my Mardu Vehicles playing buddy at the dealership. He's like, cut to ribbons, kills the thing, and then just sits there, and later you go, oh, and I win.
The problem is, if Ishkana stays alive, Ishkana's a faster clock. Because Ishkana's 4 a turn, and this you can only use once.
Well, in theory, you're running more than one, right?
Yeah, it's true. It doesn't drain, right? It just loses X life? Yeah.
Yeah. But each opponent, take that, other guy.
Players.
Yeah. So let's move over to how many people were at this event, by the way?
505.
505. Now, we were talking before, a couple days ago. This seems low for a new standard in a city like Atlanta.
Yeah, it does.
Now, unfortunately, without doing a widespread survey, we can't know if this actually is low because, my deck got banned, I can't play anything, or standard sucks right now, I don't want to go, or I don't know, my grandma is in the hospital, I can't go. Like, there's any number of reasons it's too damn hot to go to Atlanta. That's a thing. So yeah, but all we can do is look at it and go, that seems low for a new standard, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah. So, and the standard classic was even lower with only 79 people. Is that right? Really?
Yes.
I mean, Bill, I assume you put that there.
I mean, I put it in there, but I remember it being a much smaller number than I expected. I remember it was 79 though. No, it's 79, yeah.
So let's see. Bant Etherworks won that with Linvala and Ulamog and then, Etherworks cards.
My deck.
Is this your deck?
Well, no, it's not my list, but Bant Etherworks is my deck, and it forever will be because, best moment of my life. Anyway, carry on.
All right then.
Well, Magic Life.
Take that, children.
I said Magic Life. I corrected myself.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it was on the stack.
Also, I only have the one child that I am aware of.
Wait, see, there's the key.
We're still waiting for that best moment of your life. Huh?
All right. We've got Mardu Vehicles in second, a White-Red Humans in third, a Black-Green Delirium in fourth, Teamer Dynavolt in fifth. So this is the one with Torrential Gear Hulk, and then this is not what I expected when I clicked on this. It's all spells and Torrential Gear Hulk and Dynavolt Tower.
What did you expect?
I don't know. Apparently I'm not familiar with this deck at all. I expected some creatures that made energy.
This is the deck that when they said they weren't banning anything after the Pro Tour for Aether Revolt, they said, oh, don't worry, Teamer Dynavolt recently top-8'd a GP, so we're confident that will freshen up the metagame.
And then it did not. Which we were quick to point out here on Monday Night Magic because, let's see, more vehicles. Here's a Teamer Etherworks deck and a black-red what's black-red aggro? It's this deck with Glorybringer thrown in and Plague Belcher. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, and a Cut to Ribbons because, Cut to Ribbons. Okay.
As you do.
Seems good. So there you go. Since there were only 79 people playing, let's not dwell too long on it.
Realistically, most of these were probably decks that were in the other tournament that we just covered.
Probably. So then we have Modern.
Yeah.
Where 209 people were playing in the Modern Classic. And
nothing was banned.
And nothing was banned. Doug Lambert won with Ad Nauseam. But it's the one with Laboratory Maniacs, so it's funny.
And no Gideon. There was some thought that maybe this deck would start to run Gideon of the Trials.
Not yet.
No, it didn't make it into this version.
Wow, and they're running Godhead of Awe, so,
Wait, what?
They're doing weird stuff.
Oh my god. Head
of all.
That is the greatest thing I have ever seen. Cluze, do you actually like this Ad Nauseam deck?
No.
Yeah. It's the only deck.
It's the Godhead of Aw.
It's the only deck that runs Simian Spirit Guide that actually makes me think that, yes, Simian Spirit Guide should be banned. All the others that use it to do broken things are just not consistent enough to win. This deck, I hope if they ban anything out of Ad Nauseam, which I don't think is necessary, but I hope if they do, it's like Pentad Prism or something else, just not Simian Spirit Guide, because it enables all of my favorite decks. You know, like the one with Shoal and Borborygmos, Enraged, and that other card that attacks him.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That is not coming to mind now that you're making me think of it.
It's Nourishing Shoal.
Borborygmos amused.
Wild Spine Worm.
Borborygmos.
Borborygmos, not the one that doesn't have an activated ability. Judge, please don't hold me to making a really bad play here.
Yes.
Well, you know, we have to clarify now.
Yes,
You
we
saw
do
that,
have
right?
to clarify now.
Okay, great.
So in second place, we've got Harry Knoll playing Scred Red. Yay!
I'll give him credit.
Wait,
Oh, boy.
oh my god.
We were all thinking it.
None of us.
No, we weren't.
I was thinking it.
Okay, there you go. This deck
Even
actually-
I wasn't thinking it.
Oh man, I gotta rethink what I'm doing with my life.
Apparently so, yeah.
With less fun.
This deck is pretty cool though,
Yes, it is.
because it's playing Koth of the Hammer, which is not a thing you see ever.
Please tell me it's the German version.
I mean, the auto card just shows Koth of the Hammer, so let's
know what the German-
assume so though.
Koth von Hammerclan.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
2 Simian Spirit Guide seems an odd number to play, even though it's an even number. I like this deck a lot, though. Like the synergies in this deck are just so sweet.
What am I missing with Eternal Scourge? I know I'm missing something.
It's basically impossible to kill.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing busted.
I mean, it interacts nicely with Relic of Progenitus and Anger of the Gods.
Yeah, okay.
And even Chandra. You plus Chandra, reveal it, and it stays in exile. You can cast it anyway.
Oh, reveal it, hit them for 2, and then cast it. Yeah. That seems good. Okay then. Anyway, moving on. In third place, we have Burn, piloted by Liz White. In fourth place, we have Burn, piloted by Dahan Hardesty.
Yeah. These stock lists, nothing worth looking at here.
Yeah, pretty normal. Burn. In fifth place, we've got Elves. We've got, okay, Mouse. Oh god, Mouse?
Who played it, Chewie? What's the pilot's name?
Oh, I don't know. Hang on, my mouse died. There we go. Piloted by, come on, Mouse. Dude. There we go. Okay, what's Burn Elves? Right? Fifth place? Yes.
That is what you do with elves, yes.
You burn Elves. Aw.
It's like Dance Dance Revolution, but makes Cluze happy.
Oh, except Cluze.
Except that I actually like elves.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes Burn more.
Hold the
Yeah,
bird, exile the
that's-
elf.
That's actually true. Take the burn, leave the cannoli.
Cannoli. Anyway, so fifth place, Elves by Mahindra Beodari, I think?
That'd be my guess.
Beodari? I think that's right.
We can only do so much.
Oh, come on. There it goes. Okay, wait, no, it's dead again. Come on. And my mouse has apparently decided it's given up the ghost.
Is this a wireless mouse?
Yes.
I think it needs new batteries.
Actually, I think it's
Or
actually my
you could keep hitting it and hope
receiving.
that helps
I
somehow.
think it's actually my receiving thing here. Okay, well now it's got batteries and I've messed with the receiver and it's still not doing anything, so I guess I'm not allowed to click on links anymore, so you guys will have to tell me if there's anything neat in any of these.
And that's the show.
There's something neat coming up. I actually looked at these.
The neatest thing I saw is in 19th place. Is that what you were talking about?
No, we're not there yet. All right, so that was 6th place, another Burn deck, Josh
Hey, Burn.
Drunk. 7th place is what I was referring to, which is Boros Prison. White-red
Yeah.
prison deck.
We've seen
Which
this
is-
deck.
Well, this deck has Gideon of the Trials and Gideon Jura in it.
Yes, it does.
Wow.
And cast out. Oh,
Gideon of the Trials and Gideon Jura. Buh.
As in
moist.
Gideon Prime, as in Busted.
As in, come at me, bruh.
As in old and busted and new hotness.
In the same deck, even. Old busted hotness.
Oh, yes. And it's just, they have no creatures out, so Gideon of the Trials just sits there going, nah, still nah.
Yeah, you can actually just use the lockdown power pretty freely. because you've got Wrath and Anger of the Gods, and as they cast things, you just turn them off and then you hit them. Or Yunahiri or Yushandra. Really, you got choices. It's neat. Yeah. It's a prison deck. It's just a prison deck with that extra level of Gideon that it probably didn't know it wanted.
But now that it's got it, wonders how it ever got along without it.
Yeah.
All right. And then to round out the top 8, we have Eldrazi Tron.
Yep.
All right, we're in Modern. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, Modern. Sorry.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the top 8 of that.
Yep.
Hooray.
And that will be Star City, I guess. There's also a link in the, oh wait, no, we mentioned the day 2 metagame breakdown. Never mind.
Yeah. Magic
the Gathering.
I've heard of that game.
It's a Deckmaster, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't think it'll take off. It'll never pass Jihad.
It's probably true.
Oh, Vampire the Masquerade.
Rage. Rage was really big back in the day.
Silly werewolves. All right.
But then it went up against the machine and it had no hope.
So now we've got rule stuff.
Rule stuff.
So while you guys talk about that, I'm gonna go get batteries. So carry on.
Take it away, Cluze.
Wait, there's rule stuff to talk about?
This is the rule stuff you talked about last week.
I feel like we talked about all of the rule stuff last week, so I think I'll just refer everyone back to, oh, that's right. They did release the Amonkhet update bulletin where they actually talk about most of the stuff we talked about last week. But here it all is in, I'm going to call it a slightly more digestible format.
Is it all here, Cluze? Are the comprehensive rules here, Cluze?
Yeah, there's one tiny, like, itty bitty little omission here. So there were some comprehensive rules changes that happened when Amonkhet released. You know, for instance, we've got some new abilities, things like Exert, which if you want to read exactly what the rules changes or what the rules are, the actual rules text for Exert, you will find that in 701.37 of some future version of the comprehensive rules, because that's not out yet. In other words, we had a new set release with some new rules. Those new rules are incorporated into a rules document that we do not yet have, which seems weird. I remember that they normally came out right away, so I guess they're still working on something?
That's weird.
Question mark? It just seems strange, right? So right now we're living in kind of a weird sort of rules limbo, I'm going to call it, where there are rules that are in effect, but the actual documents that dictate those rules are not yet released. So some things may not work perfectly for the next little while. In the end, you know, what the head judge decides is correct for that tournament. Now, that's always been true. This is not unique here, but yeah, just be aware of it. That if you're at a tournament and things seem to work one way, and in a couple of weeks when the new comp rules come out and it changes subtly, I doubt it'll be a drastic change. I'm not saying like, oh, First Strike's going away. It's nothing weird. It's nothing crazy, but still it's unsettling is what I'll call it. I am unsettled.
Yeah, it's just, we've just had a 505 person tournament, which was the first showcase of the new cards. And technically none of the new mechanics are in the rules yet.
Right. So that means right now we're going off of mostly, I guess, reminder text, which, oh God, that's so dangerous.
It's the Wild West out there, people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird.
Fortunately,
honestly,
we had a
that's
GP head judge in charge of the Open this weekend. So
that's about all I want to say about the rules that I didn't say last time around.
Fair enough.
All right.
Ta-da.
So, now what? Magic Online?
Did you guys like to talk about this week's Magic Online news or last week's Magic Online news?
I mean,
is this week's now?
How about next week's Magic Online news?
Okay, next week's Magic Online news. Well, as you know in this show, we have to talk about what happened last week. So next week's Monday Night Magic, we're going to talk about the stuff that didn't go up this week on Tuesday. So, yeah, to make that actually vaguely make sense. Normally, Wizards post the Magic Online news every Tuesday or Wednesday, And because we record on Mondays, most of the time I can't tell you what it is because most of it's, hey, this is coming up this coming weekend, so it's irrelevant. In this case, they haven't posted it today, even though we're recording on Tuesday. So what I have for you is literally a week old Magic news, knowing full well that there should be more soon. But not surprisingly, most of the week old Magic Online news is talking about amazing things happening at the end of April, which has already happened. I'm not going to go through all that because it's pointless, but I will note, just because I think it's funny, I think monthly, Wizards does an online Power 9 challenge on Magic Online, where the people who essentially are allowed to, play Vintage, power your way through a tournament, and the people in the top 8 each take away a Power 9 card, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's not nearly as impressive online because they're not worth as much as they are on paper, obviously, but it's pretty neat. And someone managed to make their way to the top 8 of it last weekend with no actual power cards in their deck, which is pretty impressive because they're playing against people that are like jamming Moxen and all that kind of stuff. And in case you're wondering, Cluze, how would you go about defeating all of these ridiculously powerful blue decks? Because that's really what most of the Power 9 is outside of the Moxen. How would you do it, Cluze?
Here's a hint, Cluze. It's what you did to the elves.
Would you burn them?
You would grab a lot of red cards.
Yes.
A burn deck.
It's not a burn deck, though, but it's a lot of red cards.
Is it 4 copies of Red Elemental Blast? Can we start there?
No.
4
Now
copies
I'm
of
sick.
No.
Pyroblast? Oh, damn it.
What it is,
I
Cluze,
just lost.
it's a deck that's running a lot of, ridiculously powerful red cards, but it's also running Hazaret the Fervent in Vintage.
And Fiery Confluence.
And Fiery Confluence. And Goblin Rattlemaster, because you're attacking with goblins, Cluze.
Well, that's what you do with goblins.
You should.
It's also running 8 Blood Moons.
Which is the best.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Take effort.
I could build this deck tomorrow.
Yeah. Like the most expensive cards here are what? The Chrome Oxen?
Null Rods, probably.
Yeah,
the Null Rods. Yeah.
Do you know what's better than Blood Moons? More Blood Moons.
What's
Wait.
Sin Prodder? I don't remember that card.
3/2 Menace. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library. They can either put it into your graveyard or take damage equal to its casting cost, I think. Or you put it into your graveyard and take damage equal to its casting cost, or you draw it. Also, we're wrong. City of Traitors is the most expensive card in this deck by far, and the 4 of them probably cost as much as the rest of the deck put together.
Didn't see that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's lurking over in the list.
Oh, Sin Prodder's the little devil dude. I remember this guy now that I'm looking at the art. Yeah.
Did I get the Oracle text?
Beginning of upkeep, reveal the top card of your library.
Oh, okay. It's beginning of upkeep, not combat damage.
Right. Any opponent may put it into your graveyard and take damage equal to its mana cost, or you draw it. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you put it in your hand.
You're never getting a land off this.
Seems good.
But yeah, so if you've ever wanted to see an example of someone who's pushing their way up a Power 9 format without Power 9, this one made it to the top 8.
He did say on Reddit that going forward he would play a Lotus and a Mox Ruby in the deck.
Yeah. Which is legit if you have it. But I just thought that was neat. Because I don't really talk about the Magic Online Vintage events because I don't know much about Vintage and they're just a regularly occurring thing. But it's kind of cool to see when someone actually gets pretty close to getting all the way there. I mean, he came away with it with a power card, so that's kind of neat. But really, that's it for Magic Online. The main news is just the fact that the set came out a week ago and apparently people started jamming it immediately. I know that some people are having trouble with the way that the new mechanics are working. Normally they give us an article that talks about all the things that they do to make this work better, but maybe because they pushed it ahead, those aren't written yet.
Yeah, they cut down the beta testing time, so that cut out the amount of writing they could do on what they changed, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get something eventually, but suffice it to say, you should check out Magic Online if you're practicing because that's where people do it. And yeah, that's it.
Cool.
No. Oh, actually, just because it ties into the main topic. For Magic Online, the banning of Felidar Guardian went into place pretty much immediately, which is kind of noteworthy because typically when cards would get banned, there'd be a little bit of a lag. But when they announced Felidar Guardian being banned in Standard, they implemented it I think the very next day.
Gee, I wonder why that was. Pros.
Well, it's also just a case of this is kind of why. Like, if you take the argument of more data, like, they were probably the first ones to realize this was likely to happen. But, yeah, so just be aware of that. Maybe that's it. Oh, yeah, I just alluded to it, but of the new mechanics, one thing to understand is that Exert doesn't work quite the way you probably think it does. For a lot of rules, things that I'm not going to go into, you can listen to JudgeCast. But essentially, if you're playing Magic Online, when you go to attack with a creature that has Exert, you're going to have to choose between attack or attack with Exert. But if you're using the attack with all shortcut, it's just going to attack. It won't prompt you individually. So I've never used the attack with all shortcut because I'm paranoid and a wuss. But if you're the kind of person that uses that, be aware that choosing to attack with all is making a decision that is not going to prompt you individually on which ones you want to exert, because it's not actually how it works. So be aware. It's following the way the cards actually work, not the way you think they work. So it's not a bug. It's not wrong. That's just what it does. So
that is good to know.
That's it. So we're done, I think.
All right, then. Anything else that we should do before we wrap it up?
I don't know. Do we want to talk about these two little fluff things?
I mean, one of them's pretty cool. The other one's whatever.
So there was a guy who was unable to attend his pre-release because he was diagnosed with cancer and had to undergo fairly quick surgery and chemo. And Wizards heard about this and sent him approximately half a store.
Did they measure them like that?
They didn't send him half a store. They sent him 6 pre-release kits.
Sure, some stores didn't get that much. But it's pretty awesome. They also sent him deck boxes, sleeves, and playmats.
Right. Which is really good of Wizards to get some, help out a community member and get some good PR at the same time.
Yeah, but they do so much of this that I actually think it's like, I think it's less for the PR now and more because they genuinely care about their players.
I actually think so, because it's not like Wizards went, look what we have done.
No, and they never do.
No.
The only time they did was when the football player got his collection stolen. They made a big deal out of that. But that's because it was a celebrity and not because a guy had his card stolen. We do a charity tournament here annually, and the first year we did it, we contacted Worth directly because I had done a podcast with him and I had a sort of an in. And not only did he send us stuff himself, but Wizards send us stuff to give away at the tournament. And obviously he's no longer with Wizards. But Wizards still sends us stuff for this tournament every year. Just a whole bunch of deck boxes and play mats and sleeves and just to give away. And they don't expect anything out of it. They don't publicize it or anything. Just, yeah, congratulations on using our game to raise money. Here you go.
Yeah. And yeah, they've always done stuff like that. And that's just the thing that they do, because they actually, for all the crap that we give Wizards for some of their less intelligent things that they do, this is one of those things that they just do, and they do quietly, and it's awesome. So, good on them.
You know what it reminds me of, and this probably won't mean much to most of you, reminds me a lot of John Cena in the WWE.
Da, 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 da. Sorry.
He gets a ton of hate from wrestling fans because he is booked to be almost indestructible and he wins a lot. But behind the scenes, he holds the world record by a lot for Make-A-Wish kids that he's met and wishes that he's granted through that program. He is an unstoppable charity machine, and he doesn't do that for credit. He does it because kids and the fans are the people who put him where he is, and he wants to give back. And that gets completely ignored because people would rather complain about him winning a match.
Well, yeah, because the internet.
The internet is simultaneously the best and the worst thing that ever happened to humanity.
Yeah, I'd give you that. So then, That is pretty awesome. And good on you, Wizards. So now can we wrap it up?
Yes, sir.
Hey, guest host.
Yo.
What you got?
So, as always, you can find my articles weekly on StarCityGames.com on Mondays. Not this week, because I took a week off because I'm moving. Moving in with my girlfriend, which is awesome. That's big change, terrifying, but looking forward to it.
That poor girl.
Well, true.
I mean, what?
If you are going to be at Grand Prix Montreal, you can come see me, say hi. I don't bite, not hard enough to leave a mark.
And only if you ask him to.
You don't even have to ask nicely. I will be the big black dude, generally speaking.
The one with also, the British accent.
Yeah. On Sunday, you might not see me for a little while because I have a fairly large thing that I need to take care of in a secluded room with a proctor and 2 other people who may form something that looks like a panel at some point.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Well, good luck.
I'm going to need it. I will also be at GP Las Vegas from Wednesday to Saturday, doing something as yet undetermined and crying a lot because that's going to be hot. And I will be at GP Toronto in July as the judge manager. So come see me, say hi, tell me that you hate listening to my limey voice and you wish I would never come on the show again because it's way better without me, which I've actually had as an email, believe it or not, Chewie.
From this show?
Yeah, didn't even tweet it at me. Took the time to find an email address and email it to me.
Nice.
Maybe they don't understand that the hate mail goes to Jack at mtgcast.com.
Right?
That's why we have it.
Oh, it's great. I just emailed back and said, thanks for your input. And, it's just, that's my standard hate mail response these days. I love talking about magic, and I love Chewie. Cluze and Bill are okay, too.
We do what we can.
I mean, I've met Cluze. I've met Bill, too, but he was dressed as Sauron at the time.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was this whole thing.
World's best dad.
The best. Oh. Yeah, so check out my articles, come see me at GP's, and send me all of your energy on the Sunday of GP Montreal.
Wait, where are your articles?
StarCityGames.com on the free site.
And when do they go up?
Every Monday, sometimes more often if they need me.
There you go. We'll get you better at plugging things one of these days. No comment. So, how about you other 2 normal co-host guys? I use the word normal.
We'll satisfy that requirement to the best of our ability. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at SweetGoblinBob. There's no I in Goblin because the cat was holding it and now I can't find the cat. I wonder if I'll ever see that again. Maybe in Modern. But yeah, beyond that, I'm going to be at the Animazement Convention in Raleigh, North Carolina at the end of the month because I go every year. And because I once upon a time staffed that event, because this is Animazement 20, they've kind of got me handling some of the retro programming because I haven't staffed it in a long time, but I'm the only one that has a lot of the old stuff. And so if you want to meet me, I'll be relatively easy to find for a change. But yeah, that's the end of the month, Raleigh, North Carolina, biggest anime convention in the state. It's pretty awesome. Past that, I guess you can find me when Chewie's streaming sometimes because now that the stupid Overwatch event's over, I've got to probably still play Overwatch. But in the meantime, we've also got it
fervently.
No, not as fervently or not as, fighting endless streams of Robotsy so much as probably just going to run around in Heroes of the Storm for as long as we have to till we can play Pat Labor. And then I make a bunch of really old anime references as I have my giant police robot. So that'll be fun.
That is the plan. Yeah. Speaking of which, we're going to schedule up a time. Hopefully we'll do it this weekend sometime where myself and hopefully Bill and hopefully Cap and hopefully 2 other people that I don't want to name just in case it doesn't work will be able to play Heroes of the Storm together on stream for your amusement because of the Overwatch tie-in event that's currently going on. And as you can tell, we have an Overwatch problem.
And before you say anything, we know. Whatever we're doing, it's wrong.
Yeah.
We don't play this game. I am treating it like a really bad Dynasty Warriors game. And of our group, I think 2 to 3 of the people, like the ones not us, know what they're doing. For the most part, we're running around and being like, oh, hey, cool, I get to be this person. Oh, I'm really bad at this.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch us suck at video games, this is a great opportunity.
It is.
And that's it for me. So I will hand things over to Lacluyze, spelled just like it is in the show notes.
The sky is still there as of when we started this show, but I can't verify that at this time. I'm sorry.
He's busy.
Yeah. We had to record a show. Here we are. Hey, if you want to hear more of me, and I can't imagine why that would be the case, but let's say that you do, you can find me on the Random Discard podcast. We are currently on a temporary hiatus due to my co-host having twins and also, oh God, it's finals week. On that note, anyone out there who is taking finals, good luck on your finals this week. You can do this. I have confidence. I have faith in you. Mostly. Some days. Not so much today, but that was yesterday by the time you listen to this. It's fine. You got this. It's going to be fine.
Totally got this.
That's right. If you want to reach me directly, your best bet is probably on the Twitters. I am at Lacluyze, spelled just like it is in the show notes. Take it away, Chewie.
I can't handle all this pressure. I'm going insane now. Go away. Dun, dun, as a Godsmack reference. Anyway. So, yeah.
Is that what happens when Ronus attacks you? You get a Godsmack?
I hate you.
Okay.
So, I have been streaming a lot lately due to the Overwatch event. I should be streaming tonight, but we're recording Monday Night Magic. And recently, as in just a couple days ago, I was tapped to be part of the Twitch affiliates program that they just started, or they just announced a week or so ago. Which is pretty awesome. It's Twitch finally doing something to help out the smaller, not huge streamers. So you've got your huge streamers who are partners that you can subscribe to and things like that, and they get all the emotes and all that stuff, that Twitch does. And people can use bits to cheer them, essentially as a form of donation. And that's all really cool if you're a partner, which takes like years of effort to get in on because you have to grow your audience up to like an average of 300 viewers or 500 viewers or something, an average, mind you, and meet various other requirements. And I'm fairly certain I'll just never get there with my sporadic streaming schedule that I have now because I'm not focusing on the streaming. But now they've started the affiliate program to where us smaller streamers who actually have, at least a few people watching can get in on the action. So being a Twitch affiliate means that I now have the ability to receive cheers in the form of bits, which is Twitch's currency. Like I said, it's a form of donation, a tip, if you like. And in theory, I've heard in the future they're going to have subscriptions to affiliates, maybe? I can't remember the wording, and the person that told me this also couldn't. So that's awesome. And I promise to be streaming things that aren't Overwatch again, I promise. Do some more Forced Showdown and some more, what was that other thing I was doing? Hearthstone?
Have you started Eternal yet?
I did the tutorial and realized that I really wanted to make YouTube videos out of the other, campaign modes.
The second campaign mode is great for YouTube.
Exactly, yeah. So I paused and I haven't gone, and then there was an update actually just last week or so that apparently overhauled the campaigns.
The first campaign is still mostly the same. It just has a little bit more voice interaction to it.
Okay. I just read I was like, oh, there's an update? What's that? And I read the update notes and it was like, we've made the campaigns more different. And I was like, yay! Glad I waited. So in theory, I'll be playing Eternal, the digital card game at some point for YouTube. Also, Amonkhet has released on Magic Duels, so I'll be doing that story mode in the near future. Also, if you're listening to this, that means that if it's not up now, it will be very soon. You can listen to both the Mana Pool and Monday Night Magic over on my YouTube channel because enough people requested it to where I decided I'd give it a shot. So enough people watched it to where I guess it'll be worth it. So there you go. For those of you who have some sort of limit on what you can and can't have open or out or usable at work, apparently YouTube is fine for you guys, so there you go. Awesome. It'll probably go up the day after. No promises on that. I get the audio up as soon as possible. The video I will try to get up the next day, unless things come up, if they're like, hey, come drive this place and we'll pay you, I'll be like, I gotta get this video of this audio podcast up. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I don't think anyone's going to blame you for that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Other things, there's another Overwatch video of myself and Squee and Cap over from Lair of Lore, playing some 3v3 elimination of Overwatch and goofing around and having a good time. That'll be going up soon. I'm still working through Injustice and Shovel Knight and Rogue Legacy, with plenty more things coming. Very excited, very excited. And yeah, you can find me all these places / The Manapool. Twitch, The Manapool. YouTube, The Manapool. Twitter, @TheManapool. Facebook, The Manapool. Or even just themanapool.com for the podcast. Yay!
Manapool.
Exactly. Now I'm tired of saying that. But I have to say it one more time because if you want to help support what I do with all of this content creation, and goodness knows I do a lot of it, it's patreon.com / themanapool, where you can get stuff early, you can get behind the scenes stuff, and you can get your name on the soon to be completely redone end slate so that the names are actually easier to read because it's getting ridiculous. There are so many of you now, I have to alter my end screen on YouTube, which is awesome. So yay. And I think that's everything. And also, if you want to help support Magic podcasting in general, but not me specifically, that's perfectly understandable. You should go to mtgcast.com, click on Support MTGcast. You can sign up for a small monthly tip that helps keep MTGcast awake and alert, I guess, up and running. There we go. Because while MTGcast is completely free for all of you listeners out there, and it's completely free for all of us podcasters to use, it is not actually completely free. So every little bit there also helps. And I'm sure they would thank you. And also, science.
Dr. Science.
Yes.
No, just science.
Oh, okay.
This is an important thing. So yes, this has been, as always, a big thanks to Squee and Cluze for joining me for Monday Night Magic, and a big thanks to Chris Lansdell for showing up to talk about New Standard and how the systematic genocide of cats will help open up Standard.
Format solved.
That got dark.
That did. It really did. And I don't apologize at all. So this has been Monday Night Magic, episode 558 here on the MTG Cast Network. Thank you all so very much for listening, and go play some Magic.